Uh-oh, here they come. They spotted me. Come on, cows! Tell me all about it. Don't carry. Look at those cattle eat. Hi, I'm Pete, and welcome to Just a Few Acres Farm. It's another beautiful day on the farm. Gobble that stuff up. Yeah, 2004. Hi, Rusty. Rusty has the most amazing colors. Only Dexter I've seen with coloration like that. He's almost white on the inside of the rear, and he kind of tends toward black. At this point, with him pushing 9 months old, I don't think his coloration is going to change all that much. You do see some coloration change in young calves as they kind of start to grow out, but not with him. Hey, you're always coming to see me. You are. Yes, you're getting pushy. That's what happens to steers in their second year. They get pushy. The cattle are starting to lose their winter coat. This is old Sally. She's a 2016 cow, and you can see she's starting to get slick on the front. It's a gradual changeover. This field that I turned them out into is about 2 acres, and it is our oldest seeded field. This has got to be at least 20 years old as far as seeding goes, and it's a different mix from our normal field. It has orchard grass, and I like orchard grass, and it has clover and alfalfa mixed into it too. The thing I don't like about this field, and it was seeded by one of the dairies back when we used to rent our land out to make haylage off of, is it's got fescue in it. I don't like fescue as grazing material. You got to keep track of it and make sure it doesn't get too high, and it'll take over the pasture, and it's the last thing the cattle will eat out of here. So if I had my druthers, I'd have this planted differently, but we work with what we have. And they're headed out to check the field out. Find out what's good to eat in here. Yeah, you're always after me. Okay. Let's get that clover first. There you go. With the forage we have in here, they'll be on here for 4 days, and then they're going to move off to another field that hasn't been grazed yet this year. And whenever I let them into a new field, I walk the fence lines, make sure everything's still intact. This one looks good. I just counted, there's 28 head of cattle out here, and we have calves coming in, I think, 2 weeks, and then they come right after, one after the other for the next month or so. Looking forward to calving season. The big thing about fescue, as well as it being kind of the last thing the cattle will eat, especially when it gets tall, is it'll outcompete a lot of the other forages. So when you have fescue, you want to keep it down, or that's all you're going to have is fescue. And the other thing, of course, is endophyte toxicity, which you can Google and read about. I'm glad we only have this 2 acres, and keeping it down is the most important part. It's probably just as important to show what they came off of as much as what they went on to. Compare this with this. And here's the line at the temporary fence. Grazed, ungrazed. And that's the case for rotational grazing versus just letting them roam on acres for months at a time, because pretty soon they've knocked down all of the good stuff, all of the clover, and the clover gets nipped so much that it won't come back, it loses energy. And the stuff that's gone to seed, they don't touch it. So you wind up with this ratty looking, going to seed pasture, and its production's cut way down over the course of the year because you've overgrazed it. So I took them off this pasture after 4 days, and the clover and all the other goodies should come back given the state of the weather these days. These seed heads that I showed you running through the field, the cattle won't eat them from this point on if they're given this big an area. And there's the crux of the matter, It'll sit here and it'll die. The plants that have gone to seed will die. The seed heads will die off. And then you've just got very little pasture left for the summer with everything starting to go dormant. So the three things. You can clip it, which I won't do this early in the year, but if I run into this kind of situation later in the year, I'll clip it. I can let it rest and make hay off of it. Or I can let the clover and the other undergrowth come back and graze it again and clip it later when the plants start to slow down. That's usually the most effective strategy that I do. And if I go through that field and I clip it with a sickle bar mower and leave it there, put the cattle back in, they'll scoop up that cut forage. It's funny how you can fool them that way. Alrighty, on to the next thing. Always install with the text right side up so the flies can read it and it'll catch more that way. A little update on my fly control experiment. It's going well. These jar traps are just amazing. Look at that. Flies. Oh, how disgusting. The fly glue boards next to the jar traps are catching quite a few flies, not nearly what the jar traps are though. And I put one of these larger jar traps on the other side because this seems to be fly central, where they all kind of get caught. That's a big one. What is that, a bumblebee? Huh. But the jar trap hanging in the tree, nah, not really working all that great. And the garlic salt, they're passing it over. They're going for the kelp and some of the grazier's choice. Cattle eat with their noses, and I imagine it's going to take a while for them to get used to that garlic salt and start eating it. Meanwhile, the jar traps are doing a great job. Much fewer flies on the cattle than I would normally see at this time of the year, especially considering it's fairly wet, and that's when flies really breed. For those who are wondering, these jar traps are Star Bar Captivators, and I got them from Valley Vet Supply online. And I think that one of the biggest keys to the jar traps is what you put in them to make the smell. These come with a powder packet, and it's got 4 ingredients in it. One is egg solids, which make that rotten kind of smell, and then 2 other organic compounds that I think contribute to the rotten smell as well, and then 1 pheromone. I know you can use rotten meat and all that kind of stuff. The packets cost less than $1 a piece, and they're no trouble. You just stick them in there and you're done. You don't have to deal with meat and all that yuckiness. Just dump them when you're done. I'm not going to strain the flies out of the liquid. My gosh, it's a gross process as it is. Just put a new packet in. The packets, like I said, are about $1, I think, if you do the math. This glue trap on the sunny side hasn't caught squat, and the reason I put up a new one is because we had a thunderstorm and the other one blew down. I put up here. It's not catching very much at all. The real key is the relationship of the fly trap to the water, and it has to be, from what I've seen, kind of directly in the line of sight, line of flight of the cattle. They're not flying around to the other side and sticking to there. They're staying on the water side. I'm getting eager to make some hay, and it looks like we might have a window at the end of this week, but who knows in the springtime. So I figured it'd be good to get the equipment ready to make hay. I think we'll drive this one today. There we go. Old barn here. Look at this new tachometer. It's got 1/10 of an hour on it. She's been sitting here all winter. Pour out. Let me introduce you to my Gale 1860 baler. She's old, but she gets the jobs done. It's a belt baler and makes up to a 5-foot wide by 6-foot tall baler. I usually make 5x5s. And the TDC after the number on the baler stands for total density control. It's hydraulic and pressurized air, but you can set the trip mechanism here by moving it and adjusting these holes here to set different core densities and different outer shell densities for the bale, depending on whether you're making dry hay or baleage. it'll do that. Doesn't have net wrap or auto tie or any of that fancy stuff, but it suits me just fine. It's been reliable. And the best part is it cost me $1,000 at auction. Can't beat that. So I got to get her all cleaned up for the year. Take all this chaff out of here, blow it out, and probably pressure wash it and get it all nice and clean. Oil and grease it up. Yeah, we want a pressure washer for that. I got this cleaned out pretty good. I'm gonna turn the baler on and rotate the belts and see if I can unwind some of the stuff that's still in here. All right, let's give her a try. Now I'm gonna have to pick some more of that out. What's going on here? A leak down there? It's coming from the hand pump valve here. Yeah. These seals on the top of the hand pump or hydrostatic pump or whatever, they go. I've replaced them on a bunch of my tractors, and this one looks like it's gone. It's leaking on the floor. I want to be able to use this tractor to cut hay, so I'm gonna have to replace it pronto. Well, I got the part number out of the catalog, went inside and called my friendly neighborhood Case IH, NH, whatever dealer, which isn't so close it used to be. Now I gotta go about 45 minutes to 25 minutes because my old one quit selling parts and went all to the Kubota. So I'm gonna take a drive up and get the parts that I need to replace that seal. They come as a kit, pretty common thing. And I'll take you with me in the battle wagon. And while we're on the way, I'll show you some nice farms. They have a lot of nice farmland headed up north of our place. And I gotta go up to Auburn. We'll see some nice fields. Of course, you know this place, the weird people with all the chickens in the field. And I believe my neighbor's got his soybeans planted. He put them in early. This is all haylage down. Probably chop it tomorrow morning. More haylage down. Corn starting to come up in this field. Just poking through. Haylage on this side. Most of this is alfalfa. Corn coming up on this side. This area we're driving through is primarily the crops you see are for the big CAFO dairies. They're the ones chopping the haylage, planting the corn as part of their TMR program. In fact, here's one of them. These big barns are all dairy barns. All this. There's a concrete bunk silo. Lots of food in there. The region we live in is called the Finger Lakes region, and if you look on a map, the lakes are just like a hand with the lakes as the fingers. And when you get in between those fingers on the high ground between the lakes, it does like this. The ground is really fertile, some of the most fertile in the state, and great for crops. And so as we go up in between the lakes here, you get the really big dairies with the really nice fields growing crops. Man, there sure is a lot of hay down. Wowie. Huge field full of haylage. What is this car up ahead of me? Huh? There's a Super Hay high crop. Alright, you guys, tell me what kind of car this is. I'm not an old car buff, so I just know it looks cool, that's all. Nice looking soil. Not a lot of rocks up here. I heard that people are dying to get into this place. Huh. Makes sense. Beautiful. Here's a nice field of mixed grass. And a nice old farm here. Ooh, I just saw something. I was going too fast to show you guys. I'll have to show you on the way back. Pretty cool. Alright, what kind of car is that? I can only see the back end of it. I think it's a Chevy. It's got a Chevy bow tie in the back window, and it's probably a 1940 because the license plate says 1940, but I'm not sure. This is the beautiful town of Auburn, New York, home of James Seward, Lincoln's Secretary of State. Was it James Seward? William Seward? I don't know. His last name was Seward. I know Lincoln listened to him a lot, and he had good advice. It was William Seward. The sign says so. And this is the house that he lived in. And here's Monroe Tractor, where I'm going to get my parts. There we go. 3 sealing rings. 110 bucks. It is what it is, I guess. Let's go back home and put it on the tractor. William Seward. Auburn's a real notable place. It's also the home, or was the home, of Harriet Tubman. And I guess it's a 200-year anniversary. There's signs all over town, 1822 to 2022. This is what I wanted to show you. That's Titan 1020, I believe, but you can correct me if I'm wrong. I don't know the old ones that much, but I'll bet that is worth quite a bit of money. I've seen that tractor around this property in the past, but I never remember seeing it for sale. So it must be he's finally getting rid of it. All right, let's get this fixed. First thing we got to do is take the steering wheel off, and to do that, first we got to take the steering wheel cover off here without breaking it, because, you know, I just bought this. There we go. I'm going to take the steering wheel off. I'll bet putting on the new one contributed to this leak, because probably the seals were just about ready to go, and that was the final straw for them. There it goes. Take this boot off. I got a replacement for this. That has obviously been leaking for quite a while. It's all gunked up. Get this all cleaned off before we go tearing into it. Clean all this gunk out here. I'm going to take out this felt seal. Then underneath is a snap ring that's got to come out. I got a pair of snap ring pliers here. I do not like snap rings very much. There we go. We're getting there. Snap ring. Now I should be able to put the steering wheel back on here. Give it a little twist. And that little twist built a little pressure inside the hand pump here and popped the old seal out. So we got a washer here, and then we got the sealing spacer in there. And there should be another sealing ring down in here. There's that. And there's one more rubber seal down in here. Oh no, it pushed back down. Oh, you little bugger. Fine, we'll give you another jerk. That pushed it back up. There's the last sealing ring. This one's kind of a donut. It's got a groove in the middle. Now I'm going to clean this shaft off real good with some carburetor cleaner and just get it nice and clean for the new seals. Then I'm going to put some Scotch tape around it so that the seals don't get ripped or damaged as they're going on. Here are the seals that I pulled out, and I've got two spacers, a metal and a plastic one, and then I've got this umbrella seal. I don't know what it's called. It's got a groove on the inside. And then I've got another seal. And the new seals are different than this. Just as an aside, this is a truly power steering tractor, even more so than an automobile would be. With an automobile, you still have a shaft going, usually to a rack and pinion, so you've got that kind of physical connection should your power steering fail. This has just got the hand pump, which tells the fluid to go under pressure to the front wheels, and there is no physical connection except for hydraulic lines that go up to a hydraulic cylinder in the front of the tractor and actually steer the wheels. So if the tractor's shut off, it's just fluid. You're forcing fluid to turn the wheels. There's no shaft or any of that stuff. And here's a new kit, Case New Holland. It's just got 3 pieces instead of the 4. It's got that same kind of, I don't know, umbrella seal. And then it's got what looks like a bronze spacer, and then it's got the dust shield that goes on the outside. They call this the improved seal package. I like improved. So first we give the seal a little bit of lubrication here. Lubricate her up. Goes with this gap facing inside. Get that on there. The tape keeps it from getting damaged. Now we can take this tape off. Then we take the spacer, put that down over, and that presses the seal in place. And next we have to put this retaining ring or snap ring back in to hold everything in place. You told me you wanted to go in there. You did. I heard you telling me just the other day you wanted to go back in. That's the ticket. There we go. Next goes on this little dust cover thingy. I lubed it up a little bit. Just slide that on there. Just push that on. It kind of snaps in place. Now I'll put the steering wheel kind of loosely back on and fire it up and see if we have any leaks. Next comes a new boot. Here's the old boot, all torn up and just nastified. Put that one on there. Put a judicious amount of grease on the splines here. Slide the steering wheel back on. There, for easy cruising with one hand on the wheel. Put the nut back on. Tighten her down, 35 foot-pounds. And then we can put this beautiful center cover on. There we go, ready to go ramming around. That takes care of this problem on the 756 anyway. My day kind of got hijacked. I'd planned on putting more into this video, but you know, that's the way some days go. I'm gonna finish the baler tomorrow. I got it most of the way cleaned out here. I might go over it with some degreaser just to clean things up. The big thing was getting all the wadded grass out from where it catches in things around belts and chains, and especially around these bearings where it packs in here, and I spent some time digging it out. So clean this up a little bit, give it a good greasing, oil the chains on both sides, and it looks like my hydraulics are good. This is what controls tension. You've got hydraulic fluid in this big cylinder back in here, and that's in a good level. I don't have to deal with that, and my air pressure is about right at a little under 100 pounds. I might squirt a little bit in there, and I usually like to bring it up to about 110, and it'll be ready to go. So I'm pretty much done with this. It was good to get this problem fixed on this tractor anyway. I would like to use this tractor to cut hay as soon as my first window opens. I want to put this tractor through its paces, under load, and see how it runs and see if any issues crop up. And I plan on using this tractor for baling too. It's got more power than the 656, and the 656, the engine is getting a little tired, and when it's working hard on a hot day for hours on end, you can tell the engine's getting tired. As for the MD, I would like to put that on the hay bind this year. It all depends on the circumstances. If I'm in a hurry to get the hay on the ground, I'm probably not going to putz around with the MD because it's going to go a lot slower than this with the hay bind on it. And I'll use it for second cutting, but certainly the MD will come out for raking and tedding. So that's the plan. Now we just got to wait for the weather. I hope you have a great day. I hope your day goes smoother than mine. It got hijacked. And I'll see you next time.